No,
Thank you.
that looks good. Okay.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say one thing. I have been to a lot of town board, planning board meetings, and the way you guys started this one was the best one I've ever been to. It was really awesome seeing those guys all get their promotions.
Well-deserved promotion.
Do you guys have a business card that I could have?
That kind of does.
Also, for the record, that whole parcel all the way down is business highway. It doesn't go
It's
to-
all
doesn't go to
business highway.
residential. Yep. It's multifamily down at the apartment
that's
complex, but that whole parcel they have is business highway.
That's right, exactly. Okay. I was just wondering if they.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Whereas a project known as South Road Crossings, the project has been proposed for a plus or minus 17.45 acre property at 2611 and 2629 South Road, tax map parcel 6060-02-950800, located within the Highway Business BH District of the town of Poughkeepsie. And whereas the proposed project consists of 5 new buildings that will include a total of 17,442 square foot of retail space, a restaurant with drive-through, a bank, a 5-story, 120-room hotel. And whereas the applicant is also seeking a minor subdivision of the site to create 2 lots in order for the hotel to own its own lot. Lot 1 will be the front lot, include 4 small retail commercial buildings, and Lot 2 would house the hotel at the rear of the property. And whereas the applicant is requesting the town board establish an open development area, ODA, per 280-A4, the town law to allow the creation of a lot not located on the mapped street with access to Lot 2, the hotel, to be provided via an access easement from Lot 1 utilizing the main drive aisle. And whereas town law 280-A4 requires that before establishing any such open development areas, the town board shall refer the matter to the planning board for its advice. It shall allow the planning board a reasonable time to report. Whereas on June 20th, 2019, the planning board, as an initial step in its review of the proposed site and subdivision application, declared its intent to serve as lead agency under secret to coordinate the environmental review of the proposed action as an unlisted action. And whereas the town board by resolution 710-16A of 2019 consented to the planning board serving as lead agency under secret for the review of this proposed project. Now therefore be resolved, the town board reaffirms that it consents to the planning board serving as lead agency under secret for the review of this proposed project. And 2, the town board hereby defers the decision on whether or not to establish an open development area, ODA, for this project and refers the matter to the planning board for its advice pursuant to town law 280-A4. So moved.
Second.
The motion, a second. Any questions? The only thing I say is this is a project that I am definitely in favor of. Favor from day one that they're taking an old hotel.
Yeah.
They're not using any virgin soil and they're cleaning up something that has become an eyesore, and it was an eyesore the last few years it was in business. So I commend them on coming in and taking something. It's a shame that the first project fell through by being sitting in the courts for so long. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Ready for the next one?
Number 4.
Number
Ready?
4.
Yep, that's okay, making sure that's all. Whereas the town board has received an application from Kirchhoff Properties LLC requesting a zone and text amendment for the Salt Point Center SPC district, and whereas the zone and text amendment is related to the applicant's proposed project on a plus or minus 12.13 acre parcel at 53 Salt Point Turnpike, tax parcel 6162-02-750540 in the town of Poughkeepsie, and whereas the proposed project was presented to the town board at the committee of the whole on June 12, 2019, and would include a 3-lot subdivision and development of a 3-story residential building, total 48 units, a 5,460 square foot commercial building, a gas station with 4,500 square feet convenience store, and associated parking and landscaping. And whereas the proposed zone amendment, text amendment, is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendment and does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if it, in fact, had been read verbatim. And whereas the town board has determined that the proposed amendment must be referred to Dutchess County Department of Planning and Economic Development and to the town planning board for review and recommendations. And whereas the project and the proposed zoning text amendment are a type 1 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, (SECRA), and on August 15, 2019, the planning board declared its intent to serve as the lead agency for the coordinated environmental review of the proposed project. And whereas the town board has examined 6 NYCRR 617.2U and 617.6B5V of the State Environmental Quality Review Act secret regulation, and is determined that the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board, through its site plan, special use permits, and subdivision plat review and approval authority under Chapter 210 and Chapter 177 of Town of Poughkeepsie Code, has extremely broad governmental powers to investigate the potential environmental effects associated with the application, and has the experience and capability necessary to conduct a thorough environmental assessment of the actions. And whereas a proposed zoning text amendment will require a public hearing, now therefore be it resolved that, 1, the town board consents to the planning board acting as a lead agency to coordinate the environmental review of the proposed action pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law. And 2, the town board refers this matter to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Economic Development for a recommendation pursuant to GML 239M. And 3, the town board refers this matter to the town planning board for an advisory report pursuant to Town Code Section 210-154. And 4, the town board hereby defers setting a public hearing on the proposed zoning amendment until it has received a recommendation and determination of the significance from the planning board as lead agency. So move.
Second.
Your motion is second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6.
Okay, 6, 7, 8, and 9 were the promotions of our police officers. I'm going to do 9. Resolution 9, right. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the settlement of a tax certiorari proceeding instituted by Town Center Poughkeepsie, LLC, located at 2264 to 2270 South Road, lot plat number 6159-01-243942, and 2284 South Road, 6159-01-247973, for the 2018 and 2019 tax assessment rolls as shown on the attached consent judgment. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee, Town Assessor Jennifer Mund, of Barnett, of Vanderwater and Vanderwater, sign such papers are necessary to effectuate said settlement. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this one?
Was there any settlement? I read through it and I didn't see.
Small reduction.
Yeah.
There was
very little.
reduction in the assessment, but
2,000.
50,000.
50,000 for 1 year, for 2019.
Yeah, they only got 2019
And there was no pay.
for parcel 24392,
Right.
only 50,000 off.
Right,
The
right.
others were all
Reduction,
zeros.
assessment.
There was no reduction.
Yeah,
yeah,
and there's no payback.
and there was no payback.
No.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the retirement of Wayne Metrando, Senior Automotive Mechanic with the Town of Poughkeepsie Highway Department, effective August 31st, 2019. So move.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this? All I want to say, I've known Wayne for many years. I wish him all the luck. He finished up as being our senior mechanic and helping Mark run the shop over there for the last few years, and wish him good luck on his retirement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 11, whereas the town owns and operates with the city of Poughkeepsie, the Poughkeepsie's water treatment facility, which facility employs ultraviolet technology for disinfection purposes, which equipment is replacing its useful life. Now therefore, be it resolved that replacement of the existing ultraviolet disinfection components at the joint water facility is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review pursuant to 5 NYCRR 617.5, Section 2 and Section 31, as it involves the replacement, rehabilitation, purchase of the equipment at the facility in kind and at the same location. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this?
At several of the water board meetings, there have been reports on these ultraviolet sections. There are 6 of them, and they're located in the lower part of the plant. The company that made them is no longer a company, and the replacement parts are now inaccessible. So we are at the point where we have to fix it. It's sort of like owning a 1958 Edsel.
Who seconded that? I didn't get.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, well, Felicia just said I drew the short straw. Here we go. Whereas a map, report, and plan, including an estimated cost that have been duly prepared in such manner and in such detail as heretofore been determined by the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, and New York, relating to water improvements to serve a benefited area in said town to be known as Water Improvement Area 8, the area, whose boundaries shall consist of areas specifically in Apex A as attached hereto and hereby made a part hereof, said boundaries being the same as those of the existing water improvement areas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, being the entire area of said town outside of any villages as more fully shown upon a map on file in the office of the town clerk, which map is available for inspection by any person or persons interested in the same during regular office hours at said office, and whereas said map, plan, and report, including estimated costs, where prepared by a competent engineer duly licensed by the state of New York and have been filed in the offices of the town clerk of said town, where the same are available during regular office hours for examination by any persons or persons interested in the subject matter thereof, and whereas a capital improvements proposed in connection with the establishment of Water Improvement Area 8 in the town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of the town's share of cost replacement of existing ultraviolet disinfection units at the joint water treatment plant, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, acupuncturements, whatever.
Parentheses.
Okay, as well as other incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith at a maximum estimated cost of $2,233,950, and whereas said maximum estimated cost shall be authorized to be financed by issuance of a town of Poughkeepsie of its serial bonds with a maximum maturity not in excess of 40-year period prescribed by local finance law, and whereas the maximum estimated cost is not greater than 1/10 of 1% of the full valuation of taxable real property in the area of the town of Poughkeepsie outside any villages, and therefore an application to the office of the state comptroller for approval of establishment of said Water Improvement Area 8 will not be required, and whereas it proposed the cost of aforesaid improvements shall be borne by the real property in said Water Improvement Area 8 by assessing, levying upon, and collecting from the several lots and parcels of land within Water Improvement Area 8 outside of any villages, which the town board shall determine and specify to be especially benefited by the improvements, an amount sufficient to pay the principal and interest on serial bonds and the bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of issuance of serial bonds as the same become due and payable, and whereas aforesaid improvements have been determined to be a Type 2 action pursuant to the regulations of New York State Department of Environmental Conservation promulgated pursuant to State Environmental Quality Review Act, and implementation of which is proposed as such will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact, and whereas it is now desired to call a public hearing for proposed purpose of considering said map, plan, and report, including estimate of cost, and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereto concerning the same, and all in accordance to the provisions of section 209-Q of the town law. Now therefore be it ordered by the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, as follows. Section 1, a public meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, shall be held at Town Hall on Overrock Road in Poughkeepsie, New York, in the said town on the 4th day of September 2019 at 7:00 p.m. prevailing time to consider a foresaid map, plan, and report, including estimate of costs, and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same, and to take such action thereon as is required by law. Section 2, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause a copy of this order to be published once in the official paper, and also to post a copy thereof on the town signboard maintained by the town clerk, not less than 10 days, no more than 20 days, per the day designated for the hearing as aforesaid, in accordance with the provisions of section 209-Q of the town law. And section 3, this order shall take effect immediately. The question of adoption of the foregoing order is duly put to vote on roll call,
Which I'll do in a second.
which results as following.
So,
Resolution thereupon declared, never mind, so moved.
Second.
Anybody got any questions? on that one?
Oh, my God.
The only thing I will say is, the reason that this is put on so early, we haven't even gone out to bid yet, is there's a grant due September 21st, and we have to have all this in place to apply for the grant. We're hoping to get grant money to pay for a good portion of this, so we may never even have to borrow the money. We lucked out last time when they did the major renovation, we had over $3 million down there. So we're reapplying for another grant, and it has to be done by 21st. We have to have our funding in place, and our map plan report and everything done by then.
so I'm going to take a vote. Jeff Renahan,
Aye.
Bill Carlo,
Aye.
Jessica Lopez,
Aye.
Matt Woolover,
Aye.
Ann Shershen,
Aye.
and John J. Beasley.
Aye.
And I'm going to be passing this around. If you guys could just sign above your name, and then make sure I get it back. Thank you.
Motion passed 6-0. Whereas the Dutchess County Legislature has authorized the purchase of a Washisha Total Station Action and Reconstruction System with asset forfeiture fund for future funds by the Dutchess County District Attorney's Office to be donated to the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department. Be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie authorizes with appreciation the receipt of this donation for the County Legislator and District Attorney's Office. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? This is money that they can ask for with drug money that they've collected down at the district attorney's office, and from time to time we ask for something to purchase on that, and they gave us the money that we wanted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby reject all bids for SCADA system for the Arlington wastewater treatment plant pursuant to the recommendations of the town engineer, and will determine after the receipt of revised project details from the plant operator so as whether and when to rebid. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any question on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
15. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the town of Poughkeepsie updated capital assessment policy, a copy of which is attached here too. So moved.
Second?
Got a motion second. Any questions on this? This is a policy that when Charlie was here the first time, was in place when we had our audit. Being he was gone for so many years, they didn't know where it was, so he got it and updated a few pieces of it and put it back in place. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie authorizes the supervisor to execute NYSPSC required non-disclosure agreement with Central Hudson Gas and Electric in substantially the form annexed hereto, and be it further resolved that the town board does hereby determine that this is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. So moved.
Second?
The motion second. Any questions on this one?
Exactly what's this for?
Part of it is, they said the PSC always wanted it, and this time they really pushed them. A lot of it has to do with when we have emergencies that we share information, and also with CCAs being out there now, that we would give up our information for things like that, our billing and stuff like that.
So it's not granting them access,
No.
it's protecting ourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the end of our town board meeting. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Anybody have anything? Sir, come on up.
Pass this down.
How you doing?
Good
My
evening.
name's Victor Chaplin. I live on Bethlehem Place. And this is a problem that's been going on for over 10 years that we're still not getting no place with. A couple of abandoned houses are directly across the street from my house. One is totally gutted. They had squatters in there that ripped out all the plumbing, all the copper. Also, they sold it in '06. They sold it when the banks were, when the properties were giving mortgages to these two guys sitting here, okay? And then the guy went belly up, rented it out, got a bunch of squatters in there, drug dealers, two of the girls were prostitutes, okay? He paid $210,000 for the house. Back in 16, after we finally got the squatters out, when the state took the kid away, they sold the house to a lawyer for $1,000. Okay, I don't know how they did that. So then in 2013, the town board voted to demolish the house. It's right here. Has everybody's signatures on it. They were on the board in 13 to have it demolished. Since then, they sold the house 4 times. Okay, and the last time they sold it, the realtor was from Brooklyn, and the lawyer that owns it now is from Long Island. Okay, and the bank supposedly that gave them the money is in Europe. Now I don't know how they're doing this. This is like a big scheme that they're making money out of by not ripping the house down. The estimate's right here from Cove Excavating for $18,000 to knock this house down, okay? The lot alone is a 3/4 acre lot that probably could be sold for $30,000 to $40,000 that the town could be double their money on instead of having this problem with the windows open, the doors are wide open, animals are in and out, there's vagrants in there. The cops took numerous people out in handcuffs and towed their cars. My TV's on in my house right now because I'm not there. Okay, that's how bad. It's a dead-end street, and nobody wants to do anything about this. It's an ongoing problem. Here's a picture, if anybody wants to see it. A picture of one house. This raised my assessment $19,000. Okay, close that. Got more.
Got more pictures, Victor? Take a picture. What number is this again?
This is 16 Bethlehem.
They got new owners. They were working with the new owners, but they kept changing.
14
Yeah.
Bethlehem.
No, we were ripping down right away because guns were tripping.
The new owner came here.
Yeah, that was one, that was,
So it's still privately owned, it's not owned by a bank, or you said it was owned by a bank and then sold?
Yeah.
Lawyers are involved, so
Okay.
there must be the money behind this,
Yeah.
and keep running.
Victor, do me a favor, just sit in front of us so I can tape it. Thank you.
Can't hear you otherwise.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
If I start yelling.
Yeah.
No, as you said, you had come to me a long time ago about
I
this.
came to you
and I-
with my neighbor.
And I talked to Mike also.
talked to
and he-
Mike, we
And we went
talked to
back down to
Mike,
Wayne
and
and
Wayne-
said, you gotta move it. And if I'm correct, it was, as soon as they started doing something, they ended up with a new owner again. And then they start working with the owner and they disappear
Yeah,
again.
because they're victims, okay? There was like probably 3 different sets of people that were Hispanic. Now the new ones that have it are Dominican, and they run them out of money, and they get the house back. The house is totally gutted inside. It's just 2x4s. The plumbing is ripped out. When the guy Odell that originally bought the house, when
Can you
he
talk a
lived
little
it-
closer to the mic?
Excuse me?
A little closer to the mic?
when he owned the house, and how this got through, who knows, but the house, water and sewer is tapped into the well to the house next door. See, I've been on that street 40 years, I lived there, so originally all those people in them houses across the street from me were related, and however they did things back in the day. So they sold it, the guy actually lived there, and it's odd to me that everybody on the street gets a water bill except for that house, okay? And it's tapped into the neighbor's house, number 12, Bethlehem, into a sewer and septic or whatever they got going on there. Because the water department, when they ripped the copper out of the house, they had no way to shut the water off. So they just ripped the copper out and left the water running. And the town water department was trying to find the thing to shut the water off with, but there was none, because it wasn't tapped into the street. So however they capped it, they finally did it. And this just been going on since '06, you know? I mean, the guy, it took 4 or 5 years to get the squatters out of the house that were living there with no electric, no water, nothing. The 2 girls that was living with him were prostitutes. One had an 18-month-old baby. The state came and took the baby away, okay? The other ones were drug dealers. The guys that were there were drug dealers. Had to deal with this for probably 4 or 5 years. That's a quiet little street. It's a little dead-end street. Nobody bothers anybody. Like I said, I've been here 40 years. My neighbor, he just bought, you know, he's got the biggest money house on the street, you know, but it was nice then. But now it's just deteriorated. Now the house on the other end, number 16, where they ripped them shingles off, they got them down by the road, right here. These are all shingles with nails and everything else that people can run over. And like I say, the other houses here, they don't even mow the lawn. You know, they don't even mow the lawn or anything. So it just attracts vagrants, drug dealers, prostitutes coming up the street. It just attracts them. I don't know how they all know where these houses are.
Someone lives in this house, or this one's vacant as well?
They're both
This one's vacant as well.
Okay, and the one house, the door is wide open in the back door. That probably whoever, if there's a squatter living there, because they could come right through the woods from the rail trail to get to the back of these houses. And it's not only just me, you know what I mean? But it's the police. When I have to call the police and they got to come at night and walk in these houses, they don't know what they're going to be walking into. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a bad situation. It really is, but nobody really wants to take it any serious. But here's,
You can come up, sir, you can sit right there.
excuse me?
No, he wanted to come and sit next to you.
I'd like to ask a question.
Yeah, come on up.
Very official.
Here's how many times the place been sold.
Why is this taking so long?
One of the issues was from
We saw
talking,
you over a year and a half ago,
Talking
and you
to-
were gonna do everything, and
talking to
you never
Wayne.
even called me back.
I stopped at your house.
What's that?
I stopped at your house multiple times.
Yeah,
I went
why
out there,
would-
looked at it, because I talked to Wayne, and there was a new owner. So you get a new owner, they come in, they got some permits, and then they changed hands again. So when you're working with a new owner, they figured it was going in the right direction. It fell 3 times.
So-
Mike contacted Wayne the other day and said, get it back on the agenda, because obviously it's not going anywhere. You know,
But
Nah,
you notice the
I
house
don't
is
accept
going up
that.
in price every
You know
time
what?
they sell
I
it.
don't accept that explanation.
Every time they flip the house, it's for more money.
Yeah, and when you flip
Each
a house,
time.
you have a new owner.
So that's
you
like
know,
a Ponzi scheme to me.
Yeah, I didn't realize until you said that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could look right here.
Whereas the town, whatever, the document that says the house was gonna be torn down, razed.
This
or
stuff is
whatever.
all from the town of Poughkeepsie website.
And then all of a sudden it's sold again. That doesn't make any sense.
If it's sold and it's livable, it can be
It's
fixed up,
not-
they would
it-
stop. If the foundation's livable,
It's
so
not
that's what
livable.
we were told why it stopped.
I have a question, and maybe you'll know the answer. If we passed a resolution to take the house down, and before the house was actually demolished, it changed ownership, does that then take away our right to demolish because the ownership changes?
I'd have to confer, but as Jay said, if you're dealing with new people, anything that's been done is now.
It's
Have to
new.
start all
So
over
that
again.
resolution that we passed as soon as it changed ownership, that's
I'd have to look into it. It's all the way back in 2006.
Each
Yeah.
time they sell the house, it gets worse and worse
Right.
because they rip
But the
more
people
stuff.
But
occupied the house.
it's not bank
and
owned,
it's
so
not-
I think it does become a problem when new people buy it.
Right.
And the house next door, number 16, they robbed the generator from there that he had hooked in there. They robbed that. They robbed the pump from the back.
It's
The
weird
pool-
why they keep
The
them.
pool's caved in, it's just a mosquito factory now, you know? And I gotta look at this every day for the last over 10 years. And it's kinda over, and I mean, if you're not gonna do nothing, that's fine. Tell me if you're turning the town into the city of Poughkeepsie, and I'll sell my house.
No, as I said, that's not what we want, but when you get a new owner, that's what makes it hard. And
Well,
Mike met with Wayne
But
again
how
and
could they
says,
sell a house that's supposed to be demolished?
And how could they live in there? Illegally.
It's not even hooked up to plumbing or any, there's nothing.
I would walk my dog at night and I could just see a little light in there.
From the
And the
squad.
meter is pulled. So they were in there with a candle, a flashlight, et cetera. Then the police came one night because there was a car parked there. And I believe the guy was illegal. The car was not registered. The plates were stolen. Everybody went out in handcuffs and
They took the
I mean,
flatbed, they
it's just-
flatbed the vans away.
we want some action.
You know? I mean, it's not gonna give up because come the 6th,
No.
it's supposed to be, it got an OR was put on at August 6th. So September 6th is 30 days. September 7th, I'm calling Channel 7. I'm gonna have 7 on my side come up. Because I think there's something's fishy that they keep flipping this house
Oh,
and keep making money.
it sounds like they're getting people that are victims and they're taking the house and they're
They're
flipping and
victims.
taking their
They're
money. and
taking
then
a little cash.
then they're selling
And then
it
they're
again.
running them out of money. I know exactly what they're doing. And then they're taking the house back and they're reselling it. And that's the way it is. And somebody's got to do something. And then just because they're lawyers, that don't mean they're invincible. Okay?
We put a lien
This,
on.
We have clearly to look into it, what's required to go out to inspect it, what was required to transfer it, under the code. I think it's definitely something that has to get back on the agenda.
what's the property worth?
Well, they sold
With
it
nothing on
$1,000.
it. Well,
It's worth nothing. It's junk. The house is
this
junk.
says this house sold for $1,000 in 2016, and it sold for $90,000 in 2017.
Yeah, and the bank was in Europe, because you know who the bank was? The lawyer was holding the paper, okay? And he takes a little bit of cash from the Dominicans, he takes their couple 5,000, 6,000, runs them out of money and takes the house back and does it all over again.
So every time we pass a resolution, they transfer the house,
They're a step
and it
ahead of
starts
you.
all over again.
They're a step ahead of you.
Can we declare eminent domain and seize it?
12?
No,
What number?
This one's 14?
14.
Number 14.
14, yeah.
There's different reasons. I think Danielle has to look into it a little closer to see.
The house
It
was
seems to
cost-
me that we don't want to be complicit with whatever game they're playing.
Exactly. They're playing a game.
And also, clearly, besides this, they're taking advantage of whoever they're selling these
Exactly.
houses to
Absolutely.
also. So
Absolutely.
besides being bad to the neighborhoods, they're just,
Absolutely.
you know.
So in the interest of the people who live there, what qualifies us, what hurdle do we have to go over to seize the building under eminent domain, or both the buildings?
Go look at it.
No, it's a
like
legal
legally,
question.
yeah,
The
legally.
process.
Now, you know what, on that one page there where it's been sold, and you see the David Lopez, he's a realtor? The David Lopez, the last guy that sold it?
The only name that's on
That
there.
guy's from Brooklyn, New York. If you go on your computer and look his name up, and his website, he deals in houses that are 5 and change to over $1 million. That's what houses are he's dealing with. 500 and change and up to $1 million and up, and it's right on the computer. It's
I
public
think
record.
you've made your case to this town board.
Yeah, I think you've piqued all of our intrigue here.
So now, it
been
seems to
going
me that we
on and
have to
on.
be,
It's been over 10 years, and I don't mean to, be.
Okay, I
I'm
understand that.
frustrated is what it is.
I remember something about this 6 years ago, right?
Yeah, 6 years ago is when it was supposed to be demolished, in 2013.
I voted on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You want to see your name?
once they sell it, it goes back to zero and we start again.
That ain't right.
Unfortunately.
Okay, so the question I'd like council to see if she can get an answer for us is, what's the hurdle the town has to pass to seize the property, do whatever we want to do to it, and then sell the property?
We're talking about 14, what was the other one?
16.
16, we might as well look into both of them.
We need to look into declaring the building unsafe,
Right.
it over. And my question as well is, are taxes being paid on this property each time they flip it?
The thing is, okay,
Is there another way to?
with that particular house at 14, that's the biggest problem, because nobody does anything, mows their lawn. It's like a dump site now. These lawyers probably have 50 of these houses, these zombie houses that they're doing this with. You know what I mean? It's a big scheme. They're dropping oil tanks off in the front. How we got the squatters out, the town didn't get the squatters out. They couldn't do it. You know who got them out? The Board of Health, because they had the garage full of garbage. That's who got them out. This is a serious problem, more serious than,
The backyard is still full of.
it's still, they got bags of garbage in the backyard, the back door's wide open, who knows who's living in there? When the police go in there, who knows if there's a coyote in there, if there's a squatter in there? You don't know, everybody's at risk.
You don't know who they're bringing with them. Which you stated already, you don't know who they're bringing with them.
Excuse me?
You don't know who they're bringing with them, as you stated already, prostitutes, drug dealers,
Exactly.
You see South Carolina license plates and stuff.
Now, I come out to get,
What's going on?
Yeah,
What is?
A month
And the
ago,
behavior and the flipping the house alone, too. We don't want,
Something not
the
right
town of
there.
Poughkeepsie can't be a place where people can take advantage.
Mr.
of-
Supervisor and the
absolutely.
board, if I could just comment, there is a procedure if there's an emergency situation, if the house is unsafe, to remedy it by the building inspector or their designee. So we can explore that as well, perhaps.
Yeah.
In the near future.
Wayne said he was gonna list some zombie houses. That's what he told me. That he spoke to, I don't know if he spoke to you.
Mike was speaking to Wayne.
And Mike was
I heard from- yeah.
calling me.
Yeah, he told him.
And they
everything
both,
back.
they can't believe it,
Yeah.
Now, I came out a month ago to get my mail, and I looked and I seen a couple of pieces of paper at the end of the dead end, because I live all the way up at the dead end, okay? So I looked over there, and I walked over, and somebody took a nice dump over there, right on, and they wiped themselves with a couple napkins. 2 days later, they did it again in the middle of the night. It's enough now. I had enough.
No, you have a nice neighborhood there.
You know what I mean? I try to take care of my house. His house is beautiful. My other neighbors, they're not here because two other neighbors work at night. Otherwise, they'd be right here with us. It's a very frustrating thing when you're on a little street. You know what I mean? With just 8 houses, and 2 of them are just empty zombie houses that people are just coming there and stealing stuff. They're coming right up from the rail trail through the woods to get to the back of them houses. You could go there right now and the back door would be wide open on number 14, wide open. The windows upstairs are wide open, been wide open all summer. I mean, it's no joke.
I think you've made your case clearly.
Yeah.
You have
I know
our
you want to get
support.
rid of me.
No,
No.
Now we need to get what we gotta do.
Danielle, you're gonna follow up on that in the morning?
Absolutely. We'll absolutely follow up on it. And
appreciate that.
there's grounds under the code for an inspection,
I mean,
especially if there's no windows and doors.
I mean, I respect Wayne and I respect Mike because they both been on it, and they can't even believe that it's gone. Mike thought it was gone, and he thought it was knocked down already,
How weird is it that it's sold
I
all
mean,
this time?
if anybody should be making money on that house by flipping it, the town should be making money by knocking it down for 18,000. That the
selling
estimate's
the
right on the
property.
thing, because I know you could get 30 or 40,000 for the lot.
If we knock it down, it goes on the tax. If we knock it down, the bill goes on the tax bill and it goes to the county.
Yes, absolutely.
And the county sells it.
Yeah, but why should there be a couple of lawyers making all this money over and over, keep snowballing and flipping
And as
it?
Jessica said, they're ripping somebody off along the line.
Somebody,
The impression I got when I'm just watching these people
I think we should just see it, tear it down.
who are there, they put in a $10,000 driveway, I would think, all out of brick pavers, and the house, is falling apart. That didn't make
Doesn't
any
make sense.
sense.
Sounds like a write-off.
And, maybe, and they move, it's like they're gonna move in. Well, there's law, you can't move into a house like that, you gotta have water, electric,
Yeah, you got
yada,
certain
yada,
things-
all the rest of the
They
stuff.
did the driveway and that's it?
Honest to God, and there's still a pile of these brand-new pavers there. wouldn't you say that's a $10,000 driveway before? But now all the weeds are growing.
But
It's
now
a big
gotta be-
driveway. It's a
gotta
long
be put up
driveway.
again now.
It wasn't done properly, but.
Because they didn't put the dust in
We'll meet
between
with
the
Danielle
bricks
and
like you're supposed
Wayne
to.
again tomorrow to see where Wayne is to get it moving again.
You know, so by the time the winter comes and the rain or the snow gets in between the cracks and freezes, it's gonna bust them all up.
But I think these people didn't know any better.
You know, they were just
They're,
harmless victims.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know, that's what my gut feeling is.
I didn't realize, I know it flipped a few times, I didn't realize it flipped that many times.
You know, you know.
Yeah,
I
every
think
time I
you're-
show
I mean,
Wayne, Wayne says they just had a new owner, they came in
What
for
are they
permits.
getting for their money, you know?
I think they're aliens.
I mean,
and
if
they
you
don't
come-
know any
They
better.
can't get a
from where
traditional
they
loan,
came from.
probably, right?
Get a place and then they.
And
All you have to
they
do
think this is great.
All you have to do is walk over there and look at that house, and you don't even have to be a real estate person to see that that house is not worth 90,000. It's a shell. It's a shell. That's everything there's nothing in it. There's no plumbing, there's no sheetrock, there's no nothing in the whole house.
We'll have him
There's no
get
electric.
back on it in the morning, we'll
And
go
where
with
the people
Danielle.
have been using restroom, I have no idea.
You know,
But you get close to the house and
I appreciate. I don't want to take your
Stinks.
time up,
No,
and I
no,
know.
it's okay, no.
You know, I vented.
No, we'll
Good that you came back, because this way you got everybody,
perked up.
Yeah, you got everybody- right.
pumped
Yes.
up.
put some,
Police, you
put
pumped
some
up?
new blood in it, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I'll leave yous now.
thank
very
you for
much.
listening to
No,
us.
thank you.
Yeah,
You want them pictures? You just gonna have.
Oh, I got
yeah, we'll
it.
keep them, right? Yeah.
Anybody else? Doreen?
Thank you very much. Thank you. What do you mind watch?
So, you know, one of the comments tonight was that we need more apartments around here for people to have. But I've made this comment before. I don't personally think we need apartments that are unaffordable. I looked at the Dutchess County housing report from 2018. And they said to afford a one-bedroom apartment in Dutchess County, you had to make $50,000. And to afford a two-bedroom, you had to make, I think it was $61,000. And, you know, a lot of these apartments we're seeing, you know, Hudson Heritage, One Dutton, and likely here, these are not inexpensive apartments. I mean, you know, some of the prices I've seen range from, you know, $1,300 to, you know, $2,500. I mean, I don't know. Can the average person here in Dutchess County afford to pay these rents? So, you know, I think we need some, you know, affordable housing, and that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, low income or it's, you know, what some people call, you know, slum housing, whatever. We need housing that, you know, average people can afford. And I think a lot of these new apartments that are being built are just really not affordable. So, you know, and personally, I'm not looking to bring people in from New York City to fill these apartments. How about taking care of the people around here that, you know, that need apartments? There's waiting lists, and they did say there's a very low vacancy rate, which is good for the apartment complex owners, but not good for tenants who are looking. So I think you really need to keep that in mind. And, you know, if you're giving someone a pilot, in my opinion, they should be doing something back for the community. How about building some housing, a portion of these houses that are apartments that are affordable? So, but basically, I would like people who are for-profit companies to pay their full share of taxes. So, and along those lines, do you remember Tinkelman's project there, Van Wagner Avenue, and what's the other one? 33 Arlington Avenue, I think it was. Well, I just recently have come to the realization that for that project, they have had at least 5, and possibly 6 maybe, I just got some additional FOIL information, temporary certificates of occupancy that have expired in 2017. And so there are businesses that are open in that development that have expired temporary COs, and as of now, they owe at least $31,500 for temporary COs. Now, if I owed that much money in taxes, I think you'd be coming after me.
Doreen, we are going after them, because
So what's taken so long? This was at least a year that, a year ago it was $21,500 he owed. Now, a year later, he owes $31,500. And it's from 2017, so what happened? And he got pilot money for built, well, at least for built parcel 3 and 4. This is built parcel 5. So you have a developer, he's getting pilot money, so he's getting a decrease in taxes, and he's not even paying the town for the temporary COs that have expired, and nobody has done anything about it?
we've sent out violations to a lot of those. He's not the only one on the list. Once we found out some of them were in arrears, we started sending them out. One of the only avenues we have is site plan violations. So we sent those out to multiple ones on that list. If you notice, they were never on the list till the last couple of months. When we found out, we put them on the list. And part of Arlington Avenue, some of the issue they were having was paying is one issue, but the other issue is they still have temp COs until they get their job done. And some of it was tied to the road work that was just finished in the last month and a half.
Who
But that
sent
doesn't-
the violations to that?
What?
Zoning or?
Goes out to zoning, yes. When we had our construction meetings, we've sent zoning violations out to a couple of them.
Well, the first one I noticed was from the November of 2018 report.
That's when we
So
found out,
that's
we started
close
putting them on there.
you're coming up close to a year. So what's,
We sent violations out to them, and the only mechanism we have for violations besides closing them down is site plan violations. And the zoning department's working on that now. They've sent some out. If you've seen some of the lists, some of them have disappeared, some of them have come up to date. Even though they still have temp COs, some of them have come up to date on their temp COs.
well, not these 5. These 5 in particular, Project Moore, Waddle and Swaddle, Surprise Photography, Wheelhouse, and SAS or Sassy.
It's all that one,
They've been,
it's all that one building, and they're all tied to finishing that intersection.
Right,
Yeah.
and, right, the
But that still
four-way.
doesn't stop.
so
from
are they
wanting to pay.
fined?
There is a fine, and we just started sending them out a few months ago once we figured out what they were, and we got them. And I think Mary has sent a couple out, because there's multiple ones on there. There's like 6 or 7 we sent them out to, I think.
Doreen, this is me, so I'll follow up tomorrow and I'll shoot you an email and give
Okay.
you an update on exactly where we stand with all of it.
Yeah, it just seems, like I said, if someone didn't pay their taxes, you would be into some sort of a financial penalty for that, you would think, but this has been going on for quite a while, obviously, and like I said, Tinkelman, in fact, it was even last year when he was talking about, that he might be seeking another pilot for expansion. And again, build a project that you can afford, and don't be looking to the other taxpayers to be bailing you out. So, and then just the other thing I wanted to say is, I'm not sure when I talked about the 2 additional projects tonight in the Arlington Fire District for cumulative impacts, I may have said the wrong project. Both of them are on tonight's agenda. So it was the Salt Point Town Center and South Road Crossings. So those are 2 that are in the Arlington Fire District, and that are new. Okay, so, all right, so Jessica, I'll hear from you when
Yes.
it just seems, maybe the fines need to be increased.
No, they need to be forced to pay. We started billing them.
Enforcement as well.
We started billing them because some of them, were hanging out there, and we found out they weren't being, billed on a regular basis, and they weren't coming in, so we started billing them. We've cleared up some of them through that avenue, and now we're gonna go on to the violation end of it.
And, maybe as part of the comprehensive plan update process, there should be a discussion about cost of housing in the town and what can be done to ease the shortage of apartments. And again, when you have to make, $50,000 to afford a one-bedroom apartment, to me, that's an issue. Some people really, are
Can't
forced
afford
to
it.
choose between, food, medicine, rent, things like that, and it's just really, I think, unacceptable. So, thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Anybody else? Jim?
Thank you. So just a couple of things about the Raymond Avenue redevelopment project. I heard Mr. Recca say that they did their own study, and their study, yielded, 18
That other microphone still on?
18 calls a year. Now, I don't know where he said what sites are studying, but without really looking at the numbers and knowing how he got to that, it's.
Mike going?
Is it your mic? Do you have a recorder?
I have a recorder.
No.
Yeah, is that doing it? Is that too close to it, maybe?
Shouldn't be
I'll do
doing
that.
that.
No, shouldn't do it.
Anyway, I don't know how he got his numbers, and, nobody here does. You'd have to, see the breakdown. But, I remember when the landing was going to build. I was here in the room when the representative for that organization came here, and he was asked by the board, how many EMS calls do you get at your other locations? And he said, we don't get very many EMS calls. Well, I was a commissioner and there are neighbors too, because they're across the street from where we live, but I was on the fire district board then. The Arlington Fire District still responds there on an average of about 1 call a day. All right? I mean, some days they're not there, but other days they go 3 or 4 times. And the police get called there too. Nowhere's near like the mobile life in the Arlington Fire District, but the police get called there too. Now, if you listen to that guy that presented that project that night, that was not going to be an issue. And it turned out to be a big issue. All right? So...
But also, they did not have a pilot. There was no pilot for that project.
There was a graduated tax on that. They did not pay you are correct, there was no pilot, but they didn't pay the full amount the first year, and then the next year they had a little bit of reduction. By the time they got going, like the third year, something like that, I don't remember all the details, then they got up to, the full amount. But the point is that when people are in here pitching a project, nothing's ever a problem. And, so you have to really kind of filter some of that stuff out. The other thing is, let's see, the fire district has no other way to get revenue than taxes. So, where the town, you have, Councilwoman Lopez, I know you said you used the word negotiation. I mean, for the town, maybe you look at it and you say, we look at these factors and those factors, and, we think it's best for us to do whatever, if it ends up that you give them. The fire district doesn't have that. Their only source of revenue is taxes. If you reduce the taxes, they got to make it up some other way, and that means raising taxes, putting it on other people. There's no fees, there's no other way. And so my last thing here, I guess, is a question, just so I'm clear on this. So, Councilwoman Lopez, you said we don't have any pilot numbers, okay? I believe I heard Supervisor Baisley say there were some numbers, but they were invalid. Now, I foiled Freedom of Information for the pilot information that was discussed with the Arlington Fire District. I have 2 different documents. One is, and it has a heading on it, Raymond Avenue School Property Redevelopment Tax Pilot Discussion, May 8th, 2019. It starts out Town Supervisor and AFD Chair Update. All right, there's a number of pages here. I got another one that's a more recent one within just within the last week. This one is a little more stealthy. It doesn't have a date. It doesn't have a title. It doesn't say who it's addressed to. But on the back here, amongst all the other numbers, it has a table here. It says total payments to AFD by year. And just to give you an example, the first year is $1,269. I pay that for what we pay that
Jim,
for.
as I stated before, that's what they came in with. It's not accepted pilot. As Jessica stated, it's a negotiation. And as I said to them, and I told Arlington the other night when I met with them, what was on the table is off the table. So that is not a valid pilot.
Okay, so, all right.
And the board, just to be clear on what I said, because I also was not misspeaking, any negotiations that perhaps Jay has been in as a supervisor, any numbers he has seen as a board, it's not hit us yet. Like usually we all look at these pilots together before we vote on them and ask questions and, give our input. We, as the regular board, have not seen anything. I've not seen even what you have in your hand, so.
Jim, when they came to us with anything they had, I sent them to Arlington to take whatever you have and show it to Arlington, take it around, meet with some of the councilmen if you want, and show them what you have. And when he came in the other day, we discussed about it, and then he went down to the IDA. He hadn't been to the IDA yet. So, and the numbers, there's other factors that come into that. We discussed with Arlington the other day, so it's not a valid piece of paper at all. That was just something they put on the table. It's nothing we okayed. It's nothing we've looked at and said, yes, this is what we want. Give us 2%. Those negotiations haven't even begun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just, so there's some nuances here because when I mean, like Councilwoman Lopez, I believe that you haven't seen any numbers. But when you state publicly that there are no numbers, everybody watching this or sitting in the board or reading the minutes assumes that people that are here talking about this are pulling this out of the air, and we're not pulling it out of the air. There are documents and there are numbers. And Supervisor Baisley, I get your explanation that they came in with these numbers and you basically said, no, we're not going to talk about these, which also indicates that, I mean, you must have some sense of what the right numbers are. And I'll tell you what, for the fire district, the right numbers to me is the full amount of taxes. Pay your taxes. You want to build? You want to put something in here? All right? I mean, my wife and I, thank God, for 36 years in our house, we didn't have the ambulance there once. Now we've had it there a couple times because we had a sick relative there. Okay? But for 36 years, didn't have to call for an ambulance. Nobody gave us a rebate. So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, motion to resume rules.
So moved.
Those in favor?
Aye.
On to our committee reports for committee of the whole. Finance. Mr. Phone's not here. Bill or Jeff?
No report.
Fire advisor.
No report.
Government operations. Mike's not here. Ms. Coran?
No
Yeah,
report.
no report.
Land use and planning. Bill?
Yeah, the Comprehensive Review Committee is, we didn't meet in August. We are going through the RFPs now. The status is that we have RFPs from 6 companies to actually help write the comprehensive plan. It's been narrowed down to a group that are going to be interviewed, and most likely by our September meeting, we'll have a company in line. I'd like the town board to know that through the efforts of our planning staff, particularly Mike Wiltie, our planning director, that the town has received 2 grants, and Jay, you had a part in this too, which should cover the costs associated with hiring a planning environmental land use company to actually do the report. That has to be recognized. That's saving taxpayers' dollars, real taxpayer dollars. Nothing else to report.
Personnel.
No report.
Recreation.
Yes. Well, summer camp is done, and happy to report that they had 875 camper weeks, and this is more than 200 more camper weeks than they had last year. So the program has grown nicely. Also, the band concert series is done, and we're ready to begin renovations. September 1st, they're going to begin the installation of the bathroom at Greenville Park, and September 3rd, they're going to begin the Overrocker Park new playground and development. That's it.
Water. Infrastructure.
Yes. Last weekend, I spent time at our transfer station down at the highway department, and it's amazing when you're there and you watch the amount of work that does. When the cars pull up, they're emptied out by our people in a minute. In a minute. Now, yeah, the line is all the way back behind Uno's. It's a significant amount of work these men do. They get no break. They take no break. If they have to run in for a personal reason to the building, they do that. Other than that, I didn't see a break at all. There are 2 more days available on Saturdays in September, September 7th, September 21st. The operating hours are from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. A complete list of acceptable items may be picked up at the town clerk's office, the highway department, and they're on our webpage. These are 2 weekends left, everybody, and they're not going to be back till next spring. So if you have stuff that has to go, make sure you get yourself there. And Mr. Highway Superintendent, would you please express I don't know what to say. I watch the men work. I find that just unbelievable. So thank them very much.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town board adjourns at 9:02 p.m.